Pay attention to what happened on February 14th, Valentine's Day, the Three Horseshoes pub in Knockholt, Kent. Inside, 30 people are settling down for dinner. Another 20 are gathered in the bar area. It's early evening. The mood is warm, romantic. Then, at 6:55 p.m., the door swings open. A man walks in. The CCTV camera inside the pub captures everything. He's not here for a meal. He's not here for a drink. He's shouting, looking around, searching for someone. His voice cuts through the quiet chatter. Heads turn, the atmosphere shifts. A woman steps forward. She confronts him. According to witnesses who saw the footage, she calls him a narcissist. Her voice is sharp, angry, protective. The man doesn't stay long. He turns, walks back outside, returns to his car in the car park. The camera keeps rolling. Moments later, a seat vehicle reverses out of the car park, slowly, carefully. It pulls onto Harrow Road, the street just outside the pub. The car stops. The driver appears to be speaking with someone standing outside. Maybe a quick goodbye, maybe last-minute instructions. The footage doesn't capture audio, just movement. Then, silence, but not for long. Witnesses inside the pub hear something. 2 loud bangs, then more. Some think it's fireworks, others know better. Screaming starts, shouting, crying. Chaos erupts in seconds. People rush outside. Some grab their phones, others freeze. An off-duty firefighter runs toward the car park. The man who walked into the pub? He's gone. And then, nothing. He's never seen again. What happened in those missing minutes? Who was the woman in the car? And why did Valentine's Day 2025 turn into one of the deadliest domestic violence cases Kent has ever seen? Before we continue, don't forget to like this video, hit the subscribe button so you never miss any coverage in this channel. Let's go back to the beginning. So who was the woman in the car?
Cops fear a mum of 2 was shot dead by her husband in a murder-suicide before he jumped off a bridge on Valentine's Day. 43-year-old Lisa Smith was brutally gunned down by a man known to her at the Three Horseshoes pub in Knockholt, Kent on February 14th.
Her name was Lisa Smith. She was 43 years old, a mother of 2 sons, including one named TJ. She was also a grandmother. Lisa lived in Slough, a town west of London, but she had connections to Kent, family there, friends, people who cared about her. After her death, tributes poured in. Flowers were left outside the Three Horseshoes pub, balloons, handwritten notes. One read, "Wonderful Mum." Another said, "Fly high, pretty lady." People who knew Lisa described her as lovely, absolutely beautiful, not just in appearance, but in spirit. Her son TJ later called her the best. He said she was my dear old mum. The pain in those words is hard to miss. But Lisa's life wasn't easy, especially not in the months leading up to February 14th. She was married to a man named Edward Smith. He also went by the name Edvard Stockings. The two had been together for years, but the relationship had fallen apart. According to reports, Lisa left Edward over Christmas. She told people close to her that she couldn't cope anymore. The arguments, the tension, it had become too much. She came back briefly, tried to make it work, but it didn't. On the morning of February 14th, 2025, Lisa made a decision. She told her sister she was leaving Edward, for good this time. She packed what she needed, boarded a train from Slough to Orpington, a town in Kent. Her sister and friends were waiting for her. This was supposed to be her escape, a fresh start, a chance to rebuild her life away from the man who had made it unbearable. Lisa wasn't running away in fear. She was taking control. She had a plan. She had support. She had people who loved her and wanted to help. But Edward had other plans. And on what should have been a day about love, Lisa's attempt to reclaim her freedom would end in the worst way possible. The morning of February 14th started quietly. Lisa confided in her sister, told her the plan. She was leaving Edward. No more going back, no more second chances. She boarded a train from Slough heading east toward Kent, away from the life she'd been trying to escape. Around 2:40 p.m., Lisa arrived at Orpington Station. Her sister was there waiting. So were friends, people she trusted. They picked her up and decided to go somewhere low-key, somewhere they could talk, somewhere safe. They chose the Three Horseshoes, a quiet pub in the village of Knockholt. It's the kind of place where locals gather, cozy, unassuming, not the sort of spot you'd expect trouble. Lisa wasn't a regular there, but the staff recognized her. She'd been before, just not often. By early evening, the pub was filling up. It was Valentine's Day after all. Around 30 people were seated for dinner. Another 20 were in the bar area. Couples, friends, families. Lisa and her group tried to keep a low profile. They weren't there to celebrate. They were there to regroup, to figure out the next steps. But Edward was looking for her. All afternoon, he'd been calling Lisa's friends, one after another, trying to track her down, asking questions, demanding answers. No one told him where she was. But somehow, he found out. Just before 7 p.m., Edward walked through the door of the Three Horseshoes. Witnesses inside the pub saw what happened next. CCTV cameras captured it too. He was shouting, calling out for Lisa, his voice loud enough to cut through the hum of conversation. Lisa's sister confronted him. According to people who were there, she called him a narcissist, told him to leave. Edward didn't argue for long. He turned around, walked back outside, got into his car, but he didn't drive away. Inside, Lisa knew she had to leave, fast. She and two friends headed for the back door. They got into a car driven by a woman named Nancy. It was a seat, small, easy to maneuver. Nancy reversed out of the car park and onto Harrow Road, the street just outside the pub. She stopped briefly. Lisa's sister was still outside. They exchanged a few words, maybe reassurance, maybe a quick plan. That's when Edward made his move. He pulled his vehicle forward, blocked their path. There was no way around him. Nancy couldn't reverse back into the car park. She couldn't drive forward. They were trapped, and Edward had a gun. What do you think Lisa was feeling in that moment? Trapped in a car, face to face with the man she'd spent the day running from. Drop your thoughts in the comments, and if this case is hitting hard, share it with someone who needs to hear Lisa's story. Because what happened next unfolded in less than 2 minutes. 6:59 p.m. Edward is in his car. Nancy's seat is blocked. Lisa is trapped in the passenger seat. Then, the first shot. Edward fires from inside his own vehicle, then a second shot. Both miss. No one is injured, but the message is clear. He's not here to talk. Inside the pub, landlady Michelle Thomas is printing menus for the dinner service. She hears 2 loud bangs. At first, she thinks it's fireworks. Maybe someone celebrating Valentine's Day a little too enthusiastically. But then the screaming starts. Outside, Edward exits his vehicle. He's holding a handgun. His arm is outstretched, pointed directly at the seat. He fires a third shot. This one goes through the driver's window. It strikes Lisa in the neck. The wound is catastrophic. Edward doesn't stop. He moves to the passenger side of the car, gets closer, fires a 4th shot at close range. 4 shots. In under 2 minutes. Inside the Three Horseshoes, chaos erupts. People are shouting, crying, some freeze. Others rush toward the windows. Witnesses grab their phones. They're calling 999, screaming into the line, telling operators someone's been shot. An off-duty firefighter is among the diners. He doesn't hesitate. He runs outside. Others follow. They find Lisa slumped in the car. Blood everywhere. The firefighter starts CPR. Members of the public join in. They're doing everything they can. Police are called at 7:02 p.m. Paramedics are dispatched immediately, but Lisa's injuries are too severe. Despite the efforts of everyone there, she is pronounced dead at 7:42 p.m. A post-mortem examination later confirms she was shot twice in the neck and once in the chest. The third shot, the one through the driver's window, all was the fatal wound. Outside the pub, locals heard the gunfire. Some described hearing 3 loud bangs. Others said it sounded like a car backfiring. But everyone knew something terrible had happened. A police helicopter circled overhead all night. The sound of the rotors echoed through the quiet village. Searchlights swept across fields and roads. Inside the Three Horseshoes, couples who had come for a romantic Valentine's dinner were locked inside for their own safety. They couldn't leave, not until police cleared the scene. Some were still in shock. Others were crying. A few had seen everything. One witness, a parish councillor named Steve Maines, told reporters they were sitting down for their Valentine's meal when the commotion started. They were told someone had been shot. Then they were told to leave. But Edward was already gone. He'd fled the scene, left Lisa dying in the car, left behind dozens of traumatized witnesses. And the manhunt was just beginning. Edward didn't stay at the scene. The moment he fired the last shot, he got back into his car and drove away. Police launched a manhunt immediately. Helicopters, ground units, every available officer. But Edward was already moving. According to reports, he showed up at a fish and chip shop in Coxheath, a town several miles away. Witnesses said he walked in brandishing the gun. He demanded a knife. It's unclear if he got one. But he didn't stay long. Between 7 and 8 p.m., Edward started sending voice notes. He sent them to relatives, to a woman referred to as Nana, people close to him. In one message, he said, "I've shot Lisa. She's dead." In another, he said, "Hopefully I'm going to get into heaven with my wife." His words were calm, detached, like he'd already made peace with what came next. Around 8:50 p.m., Edward called a friend, a man named Leslie Thompson. The two had known each other for 30 years. Thompson later spoke to the media about that call. He said Edward told him, "She's dead. I love you. I'll see you on the other side." Edward also said, "I can't live. We've all gone together." And then, "Armed police will probably shoot me." Thompson was stunned. He thought his friend was having a breakdown. He knew Edward had been struggling. His father had died 2 years earlier, and Edward had never fully recovered. But Thompson never imagined it would come to this. While Edward was making calls, police were tracking him. They used CCTV footage from roads and businesses, automatic number plate recognition cameras, phone signals. Every piece of technology available was being used to find him, and then they did. Edward's car was found abandoned on the Queen Elizabeth II Bridge near Dartford. It's a massive structure that crosses the River Thames, 17 miles from the Three Horseshoes pub. Inside the car, officers found the handgun, the same weapon used to kill Lisa, but Edward wasn't there. Witnesses reported seeing a man on the wrong side of the bridge barrier, the side that faces the water, the side no one should be on unless they're planning to jump. Police believe that's exactly what Edward did. He entered the River Thames, likely jumped from the bridge. Officers immediately began searching the water, boats, divers, helicopters with thermal imaging. But the river is vast, the current is strong, and Edward was nowhere to be found. The search for Edward's body began immediately. Kent Police coordinated with the Metropolitan Police, the London Fire Brigade, and the Coast Guard. Divers went into the water. Boats scanned the surface. Helicopters hovered overhead. The River Thames is unforgiving, cold, fast-moving. Finding someone who's entered the water is never guaranteed. Back at the Three Horseshoes, the scene was still active. On February 15th, the day after the shooting, forensic teams arrived in white suits. They combed through the car park, taking photographs, collecting evidence, measuring distances. White screens were erected around the area where Lisa died. Blue tarpaulin covered parts of the ground. The pub was closed. A sign on the door apologized for the inconvenience. It said they hoped to reopen soon. By the next day, they did. But the community was shaken. Flowers began appearing outside the pub, bouquets, balloons, handwritten notes. One tribute read, "Wonderful Mum." Another said, "Fly high, pretty lady." Locals struggled to process what had happened. One resident, a 19-year-old named Zach Warren, told reporters, "It's shocking. This is Knockholt, not South London." An 82-year-old woman named Joyce Betts said her granddaughter called her that night, told her to lock her windows and doors. She could see the lights outside but didn't know what was happening. For weeks, the search for Edward continued. Then, on March 7th, 2025, his body was recovered. It was found in Cold Harbour Lane, Raynham, Essex, miles downstream from the bridge. The cause of death was massive head trauma, consistent with a fall from a great height. Edward's death was ruled a suicide. There would be no arrest, no trial, no chance for Lisa's family to see him face justice in court, but there would be an inquest. On September 17th, 2025, a hearing was held at Oakwood House in Maidstone. Coroner Katrina Hepburn presided. The inquest examined all the evidence, witness statements, CCTV footage, phone records, voice notes, the post-mortem results. Coroner Hepburn ruled Lisa's death an unlawful killing. She stated that Edward acted with intent to kill her or cause her really serious harm. He had tracked Lisa down, blocked her escape, and shot her multiple times. A separate inquest confirmed Edward's death as suicide. Because the suspect was deceased, there would be no criminal trial. The case was closed legally. But for Lisa's family, the pain was just beginning. Her sons, her granddaughter, her sister, her father, all of them left to pick up the pieces of a life stolen too soon. Justice, in the legal sense, had been served, but it would never bring Lisa back. Even with the inquest complete, questions linger. Where did Edward get the handgun? Was it legally owned? Did he have a license? Had he purchased it recently, or had he been keeping it for years? Investigators have not publicly confirmed any of that. Another question haunts those who followed the case. Why didn't Lisa's group drive away after the first shots? Edward fired twice from inside his car. Both missed. Nancy was behind the wheel. The engine was running. Why didn't she reverse? Why didn't she try to escape? Detective Sergeant James Dolby testified at the inquest. He said it happened too quickly. The block, the shots, the chaos. There was no time to react. But it's hard not to wonder if things could have been different. What triggered Edward that day? According to reports, he had a history of mental health issues. He'd been diagnosed with non-organic psychosis. He'd been sectioned about 10 years earlier. But in the weeks before the shooting, Edward had visited his doctor. He told them he'd been arguing with Lisa, but he also said he felt better, that his medication was helping. So what changed? What pushed him over the edge on February 14th? We may never know. There's also the question of Edward's body. He's believed to have jumped from the Queen Elizabeth II Bridge on the night of February 14th, but his body wasn't recovered until March 7th. That's 3 weeks later. Why the delay? The Thames is a large river. The current is strong. Bodies can travel miles downstream, but 3 weeks is a long time. Was there CCTV footage of the actual shooting in the car park? The pub had cameras inside. They captured Edward's confrontation with Lisa's sister. But what about outside? Did cameras capture the moment he fired? The moment Lisa was hit? If that footage exists, it has not been publicly released or confirmed. At the inquest, Lisa's father asked questions. He wanted answers. He wanted to understand how this happened to his daughter. But many details remain private, out of respect for the family, out of respect for Lisa. Some questions will never be answered. And maybe that's the hardest part of all. Lisa did so many things right. She confided in her sister. She left her abuser. She didn't go alone. She traveled with friends. She chose a public location. She had a plan. She had support. But Edward's determination and access to a firearm made escape nearly impossible. That's the brutal reality of domestic violence. You can do everything right and still be in danger. One lesson stands out. Momentum is critical. After Edward fired the first 2 shots and blocked the car, the group hesitated. They stopped. They didn't know what to do. In situations like this, hesitation can be deadly. Lock car doors immediately. Keep the engine running. If someone blocks your path, drive through obstacles if you have to. Reverse over curbs, hit trash cans, do whatever it takes to get away. Your life is worth more than a damaged car. Edward's repeated phone calls that afternoon were a red flag. He wasn't just looking for Lisa. He was hunting her. If you're leaving an abusive relationship, share your live GPS location with trusted contacts. Use apps that update in real time. Let people know where you are at all times. Consider blocking the abuser's number, or use a temporary phone they don't know about. Lisa chose the Three Horseshoes because it was familiar, but it was also local, close to where Edward could find her. When fleeing domestic violence, distance matters. Cross county if possible. Go somewhere the abuser wouldn't think to look. There were heroes that day. Landlady Michelle Thomas and her staff acted quickly. They got patrons inside. They kept people safe while chaos unfolded outside. The off-duty firefighter who performed CPR didn't hesitate. He ran toward danger. He tried to save Lisa's life. Even though he couldn't, his efforts mattered. Edward's voice notes and phone calls helped investigators reconstruct what happened. Abusers often incriminate themselves. They brag, they confess. They leave digital trails. If someone threatens you, screenshot everything. Save voice messages. Forward emails to a trusted friend. Evidence can save your life or help convict your abuser. This case shows how quickly domestic violence can escalate. Lisa left in the morning. By evening, she was dead. Hours. That's all it took. If you or someone you know is in an abusive relationship, please reach out. There are organizations that can help. Hotlines, shelters, legal resources. And if this video opened your eyes to how dangerous these situations can be, subscribe, share it, help spread awareness. Because Lisa's story shouldn't be forgotten. Lisa Smith was a mother, a grandmother, a daughter, and a sister. Tributes left outside the Three Horseshoes called her the best, lovely, absolutely beautiful. Her sons, including TJ, will grow up without her. Her granddaughter will never fully know the woman everyone says was so full of life. Edward's actions on Valentine's Day, 2025, didn't just take Lisa's life. They devastated 2 families. Lisa's family lost someone they loved deeply, someone they were trying to protect. Edward's family lost him too, and they'll forever carry the weight of what he did. The case is closed legally, the inquest is complete, the coroner has ruled, but the pain endures. If you or someone you know is experiencing domestic violence, please reach out. There are people who can help, hotlines, shelters, counselors. You don't have to face it alone. Thank you for watching. I know this was heavy. Cases like this take a toll, so please take care of yourself. Step away if you need to. Talk to someone if it brought up difficult feelings. Lisa's story matters, and by watching, by sharing, by caring, you're making sure she's not forgotten. If you want more deep dives into cases like this, subscribe and hit the bell. There's another story coming soon that you won't want to miss. Until then, stay safe, look out for each other, and remember Lisa Smith.